Darjeeling is considered to be one of the most beautiful places and one of the favorite tourist destinations in India. It's also known as Queen of the Hills. Every year, we witness thousands of tourists from near and far come to Darjeeling and enjoy their most awaited vacation. It was once the ideal location for the shooting of Hindi feature films, and even today, we can still see many new regional films or web series being shot in Darjeeling. But every place has its backstory. How it came to be, its struggles, sacrifices, violence, war is what made Darjeeling what it is today. So let's go back in time and see how everything started. So welcome to Nepali Vibes. It's a new channel, so please comment, subscribe, like and share. Today the topic is History of Darjeeling. The name Darjeeling came from the Tibetan words Dorje, meaning thunderbolt, and Ling, a place or land, so the land of the thunderbolt. It is located in the northern part of West Bengal, India, and surrounded by Sikkim, Nepal, Bhutan and China, and also serves as a gateway to the northeast part of India. Pre-independence period. In 1700s, Sikkim owned Darjeeling, and for a brief period, it belonged to Nepal too. In 1780, Gorkhas from Nepal took over Sikkim, but eventually they lost the war to the British, and Nepal had to give up both Sikkim and Darjeeling, thus preventing the Gorkhas from turning the whole of Sikkim, including the present district of Darjeeling, into a province of Nepal, by signing the Treaty of Sugauli on 4th March 1816 by the then King of Nepal, Bikram Shah, and that's how East India Company was initiated in Darjeeling. On 10th February 1817, the Treaty of Titalia, the East India Company, reinstated Chogyal, the monarch of Kingdom of Sikkim, restored all the lands that was seized by Nepal between the Meiji and the Teesta, and also guaranteed his safety. 10 years later, a dispute once again arose between Sikkim and Nepal, and in 1828, Captain Lloyd was deputed to settle the dispute, along with Mr. J. W. Grant. He came to the hills, and that was when he was attracted by the position of Darjeeling. Therefore, he stressed the need to procure the place for the advantage that the British would have. Lord Bentinck promptly deputed Captain Herbert to examine the position of the land, along with Grant, with special reference to its strategic and communication benefits. And General Lloyd was sent to start negotiations with the King of Sikkim for the transfer of Darjeeling, in return for an equivalent land or money. The negotiations ended in the execution by the King of Sikkim in a deed of grant on the 1st of February 1835. After acquiring the hill territory of Darjeeling, General Lloyd and Dr. Chapman arrived in 1836 to explore the place, its climate, its potentials and probability of civilization. They spent the winter of 1836 and 1837 here in Darjeeling, and on the basis of the report, it was decided to adopt Darjeeling as the next place for settlement, and it became an ideal location for survival, with abundance of natural resources. By 1840, a road was built from Pankhabari and few bungalows too. A hotel was started in Kurseong and one in Darjeeling, and also about 30 private houses were built. In 1839, Dr. Campbell was transferred to Darjeeling, and he devoted himself to the task of developing the place, inviting immigrants for cultivation in the mountain slopes and giving birth to trade and commerce. Every encouragement was given to the settlers, who received grants of forest lands, resulting to increase in population from 100 in 1839 to about 10,000 in 1849 by immigrants from the neighboring states of Nepal, Sikkim and Bhutan. Due to his efforts, by 1852 a sanatorium had been built and a hill corps had been initiated to maintain order and communication. Due to Dr. Campbell's initiative, some of those developments were around 70 European houses had been constructed, a market and a jail had been built, revenue of Rs 50,000 had been raised, a system of justice had been introduced in line with the tribal system, forced labor had been abolished, roads had been constructed, and experimental cultivation of tea, coffee and fruits had been introduced. In the meantime, British and Sikkim relations were getting worse. The increasing importance of Darjeeling under free institutions was a constant source of jealousy and annoyance to Sikkim. When in 1849, Sikkim arrested Campbell and his associates, the British sent a fugitive expedition against Sikkim in 1850. An annual grant of Rs 6,000 was stopped and took another 640 square miles of additional territory from Sikkim. It comprised Siliguri subdivisions and in the hills the whole southern part of Sikkim, between Rangit and the plains of India, and from Nepal on the west to Bhutan frontier and Teesta River in the east. Its impact: King of Sikkim confined to mountainous regions and banned from all access to the plains except through the British territory. They welcomed all settlers by paying a small and fixed tax to the treasury at Darjeeling. Increase in population, suitability for tea, connected Darjeeling on the south with British districts of Purnia and Rangpur, Jalpaiguri. However, raids from Sikkim continued. In 1860, the British occupied Rinchimpong. In 1861, Colonel Gowler and Ashley Eden marched from Darjeeling and reached the then Sikkimese capital of Tumlong. On March 28, 1861, Ashley Eden signed a treaty with the new king, resulting in great advantage to Darjeeling, and then a road from Darjeeling to Teesta was constructed. In the meantime, trouble arose with the adjoining state of Bhutan too. In the winter of 1864, a military force was dispatched to Bhutan, and the whole of Bhutan Boers was captured and registered through the Treaty of Sinchula in 1866. And then Darjeeling district can be said to have assumed its present shape and size, spreading up to 1234 square miles. So 1866 marks as a very important year in the history of Darjeeling. Peace was established on all fronts and headed towards progress and civilization. From 1850 to 1870, the tea industry in Darjeeling grew to 56 tea gardens employing some 8,000 laborers. By the last decades of the 19th century, large numbers of officials from British Raj governments had begun to travel to hill stations during the summers, resulting in the growth of trades too in Darjeeling. By the turn of 20th century, 100 tea gardens employed an estimated 64,000 workers and more than £5 million were invested in Darjeeling tea. More laborers joined from across the Himalayas. They communicated with each other in Nepali. Later, the language, their customs and traditions would create the distinctive ethnicity of Darjeeling called Indian Gorkha. Post-independence period.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
The 15th of August 1947 saw India becoming a sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic. Thereafter, they started working on various projects like infrastructure development, education for the masses, poverty eradication, rural health and sanitation, economic development of the people, and then tourism. After India's independence, in 1947, Darjeeling became a part of the new province of West Bengal, and in 1950, in the Republic of India. British start exiting from Darjeeling, and their cottages were quickly purchased by the Indian upper class from the plains, as well as they enrolled their children in the town's many schools. During its progress, many ethnic communities from near and far-flung areas started to come and settle in Darjeeling. And as the time went by, all happened to communicate in Nepali. Eventually, there were many more speakers in Nepali in Gorkha districts of northern Bengal. And the demand for the recognition of Nepali language was official and was accepted in the West Bengal Official Language Act 1961. However, the new India and the government was very unclear about the position of Indian Nepalese and was reluctant to recognize Nepali as an official language in the Constitution of India. All these factors played into creating a militant mood among the Gorkhas for statehood and brought the Gorkhaland movement to the forefront. It led to the founding of the Gorkha National Liberation Front under the leadership of Subhash Gishing in the year 1980. Formation of DGHC. The period 1982 to 1988 saw the people of Darjeeling in agitation, infamously known as 40 Days Strike, for the formation of a separate state, only resulting in overall loss, damages, destructions, violence and deaths. However, after an agreement between the government and the chief of the Gorkha National Liberation Front, Mr. Subhash Gishing, the agitation was suspended and made the way for the formation of an autonomous council for the hills people, resulting in the establishment of Darjeeling Gorkha Hill Council in 1988. And then in 1992, the Nepali language was recognized officially at the federal level in India by inclusion in the Indian Constitution. Formation of GTA. Though Darjeeling became peaceful, the issue of a separate state lingered. Agitation for a new state again erupted in 2008, led by Gorkha Janmukti Morcha. In July 2011, a pact was signed between Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, the state and national government, which included an elected Gorkhaland Territorial Administration (GTA). As per Memorandum of Agreement signed between the Government of India, Government of West Bengal and Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, Gorkha Territorial Act of 2011 came to existence. On 14 March 2012, establishment of Gorkhaland Territorial Administration for the region comprising the 3 subdivisions Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Kurseong and some parts of Siliguri subdivisions in the district of Darjeeling happened. The objective was to establish an autonomous self-government body. Accordingly, GTA Sabha was constituted on 2nd August 2012 with 45 elected members and 5 members nominated by the Governor, Hill Affairs Branch of the Home and Hill Affairs Department. One of the biggest agitation was in 2017 with a strike of 105 days, causing several months of violence, food shortages and strike in Darjeeling. And for the same demand, eventually, over the years, it resulted in the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha splitting into factions, and few parties have come and gone with change of leaders too. And currently, the party that is active in Darjeeling is Bharatiya Gorkha Prajatantrik Morcha. Apart from tea, Darjeeling is also famous for toy trains, now known as Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. The story began in 1879 when it started running between New Jalpaiguri and Darjeeling and was built between 1879 and 1881. It is about 88 kilometers long. Its main purpose was to carry raw materials and other necessary items in order to establish civilizations in Darjeeling. It climbs from about 100 meters above sea level at New Jalpaiguri to about 2,200 meters at Darjeeling, using 6 zigzags and 5 loops to gain altitude. And in 1999, Darjeeling Himalayan Railway has been declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and amazingly it is the second railway to have such an honor. Today it serves as one of the main attractions for tourists around the world, and in the present time it also offers joyride between Darjeeling and Ghum. And Ghum railway station happens to be the highest railway station in India. However, today if you think about Darjeeling, this place has almost lost its charm or is in the verge of one. It is not the same. Politics, agitations and personal benefits have wreaked its havoc in this beautiful land too. But still we are living with the hope that one day Darjeeling will return to its glory and beauty once it had, in the due course of time. And this rests in our very own hands. Do you agree? So please comment down below, and as said before, this is my first vlog, so I need your support, feedback or any other suggestions that will help me improve my channel. So please subscribe, like and share. Thank you for watching and see you next time.